Hey guys, welcome to another one of my watch reviews. Today we're going to look at a watch that I just picked up recently. It's kind of an odd purchase for me if you've been watching my channel, but one of my personal passions is Russian naval history. Particularly, I love Russian naval history from the Cold War. I'm a big fan of Russian submarines in particular, like the Oscar IIs and the Deltas and the Typhoons, and in this case the Akulas. And I know this sounds like a tangent, but you'll see why I'm bringing this up in a sec. The reason is my newest purchase is an Invicta Akula, which, if you're unfamiliar, is kind of inspired by the Akula, which was a Russian Cold War submarine that used to run against our Los Angeles class submarines, among others, during the Cold War. And I believe there are still quite a few still in service. I haven't been following their recent status. Anyway, long story short, this was kind of a cool watch that I picked up. I just wanted to show you guys kind of what it looked like and give you a sense of it on the wrist. So to start with, let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box here. Now, you will see in a sec that this is a Swiss-made watch, which is a pretty good deal because this watch is only a couple $100, which for a Swiss-made watch is a pretty good deal, I think. This is part of Invicta's reserve collection, so it means it's A, Swiss-made, and B, I believe it's hand-finished and assembled. I have a soft spot for Akula, or not Akula, for Invicta. I know some people tend to say negative things about Invicta, but I do think for the money they build a pretty decent watch, if I'm honest. So inside, you got the little tag and stuff in here, but there are some manuals, by the way, and warranty cards that Invicta give you in here. I haven't bothered to look at it yet. So this is the watch. It's black IP coated, and then it's got a blue dial and a blue silicone strap, silicone i.e. sand. It's very smooth. It's kind of bulky, the strap. If we look at the dial, what you've got here is you've got a 30-minute counter here at 10 o'clock. You've got a 10-minute counter here at roughly 2 o'clock, which also does tenths of a second. You've got your date aperture down here, and then you've got your 60-second counter here. So to start the chronograph, you hit the top pusher, and once it goes down one revolution, it will start counting off minutes, and it will also count off over here. Now what you can do is you can stop it, and you'll watch this counter over here at 2 o'clock go back and forth. That's counting tenths of a second between clicks, to my understanding. And when you're done with it, you can stop it and reset it. The watch itself is hacking, so when you pull the crown out all the way, you'll see that the second hand down here has stopped. I know it looks kind of counterintuitive because the second hand for the chronograph is still going, but you'll see now that this has stopped ticking. That's a nice feature. You'll see on the dial that it says down at 6 o'clock Swiss made, professional instrument. It's got the Invicta logo up here. It's kind of same color with the dial, so it's kind of hard to see, but it looks kind of cool. You've got the reserve, I believe that is, marker signature here on the crown. You'll see this is a multi-piece case. It's actually really cool. The watch itself, the centerpiece actually sits in this cradle, which holds it in place. It's actually a really cool design. And you'll actually see that there are individual screws around the part of the case that actually hold the watch in place. This kind of reminds me of like a Hublot Big Bang, or even an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore in terms of kind of design. I'm assuming they got some of their inspiration from those watches. Obviously this is not in the same league. And on the bottom you will see the inscription, Invicta Akula Reserve. There's a little bit of a silhouette of the Akula attack submarine. And it mentions the chronograph movement and that it's Swiss made, and you'll also see the serial number on there. It also mentions on here the flame fusion crystal, which is Invicta's version of sapphire crystal. I don't believe it's made out of sapphire, but it's pretty resistant to scratches and hard hits. I've had several Invictas and they've held up very, very well. Forgive me if I'm misstating this, but I believe this movement is an ISA movement. I think it's an ISA, I'm not sure. I need to do some research. If somebody knows what it is, feel free to comment for me. It's a very, very nice watch. It's very, very heavy. And then the big parting piece in this watch is that it's actually a 52mm watch, which for those of you that don't really know watch sizes is enormous for a watch. Most watches are 36mm to like 41 for men's, and this thing is just enormous. To give you something for comparison's sake, I'll give you a 36mm watch here. So this is my Rolex President here. This is a 36mm watch. You can see that very, very different size here. I mean, the thing about this Invicta is if somebody attacks you on the street, you can knock them in the head with it and give them a concussion. It has its ability to protect you if you get attacked. It actually, for as big as it is, it feels really comfortable on the wrist. The silicone strap feels pretty nice. It's soft because it's, again, silicone. And it's just got a great look to it. As you can see, there's a little bit of reflection in the face. It's not anti-reflective, unfortunately. But when you think this watch only cost a couple $100, it's not to be expected. Interesting to see how the finish holds up over time. These finishes tend to flake off on most watches, I've noticed over the time. But we'll see how this one holds up. I believe the retail on this thing is over $1,000. They always quote it, but you can get these things up for, I've seen them for right around $100 and a couple $100. So when you think about what else is on the market for this price to get something this well made, that's Swiss made with a solid stainless steel case and a Swiss movement that's chronograph, and I mean, if you're going to buy like a Tissot or a Movado or a Tag Heuer equivalent, you'd be spending $800,000 plus for this watch. So hope you guys enjoyed the review. I think it's a really cool piece, and if you're looking for affordable Swiss made watches, I think Invicta is worth giving a check out. I also would highly recommend Swatch, of course, but overall a really good piece. Thanks again for watching my videos, and I hope to post up some more in the future.